Going live with the elder. Can't lie. I'm frantic. I'm geek. This is what I look forward to nowadays in my life. To get game from the elders. Let me tag them. Let me get the elder in here. I gotta wait on him to go live with me. Let me go to his page. Oh, he on. Let me wait on him to send me the... Yeah, I'm geeked about this. Live with the elder. I'm waiting on him to tap in. Tag the elder for me, y'all, so that way, because he say they've been messing with his live. So tag him for me so he can send a request and I can pull him in that way. Walaikum assalam, Mark. Yes, Black Hero. This one of our Black heroes, y'all, whether you like it or not. He's definitely one of our elders and Black living hero. Cuzzo, what's good? That was good news to hear from you. Free you soon. And I wanted him to be able to pronounce and say his name the correct way, because some will say Kaba Kamene. There you go right there. And when I say, y'all, I'm frantic, I'm frantic. I'm frantic. It's no secret. Let me see. For sure, free Larry. All our political prisoners. Hotep, brother.
Hotep to my brother Jojo Capone. How's it going, brother?
Man, I'm so frantic right now. I got the shakes.
Brother, I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while, brother.
Hey, you see, I was waiting. Soon as you gave me the date, I was frantic. You see,
All right.
I got my hat from the motherland. I brought out the bells and whistles.
I like the colors, brother.
Yeah, so
you're carrying the legend.
Yeah, I got my bracelet on with all the shakes.
There we go.
From the motherland. I got some more pieces under here, but you one of our Black heroes, so I wanted to put this on for us and support one of the brothers that has this line, Black Heroes, so I support them to the fullest as well.
I appreciate that, brother.
How I describe you, our master teacher, living legend, whether they like it or not, you know, and for my generation to see how you're so enlightening on our culture is amazing to me. You know, because some people don't understand, like they might say, well, why? And it's like we've been misled for so many years that now when you have a brother and some sisters that dedicate their life to us, showing us who we are, I was taught to take heed to when my elders speak. So at first I wanted to do the interview and didn't want to say a word, but because I have you here in front of me and I'm so frantic, I couldn't let this moment go without me saying something. But I'm here as the devoted student, and you're a master teacher, scholar for us all. And being taught that it's one race, the human race, and different ethnicities. So we want to go into a lot of that, but I want to thank you again, and you can tell my viewers and your viewers who you are, the correct way to pronounce your name, and take it from there. And I got my notes over here, but I want to take it from there after you do your introduction.
Okay, well, brother, first I appreciate you and I respect the work that you're doing for our community. And everything that I do as it relates to the work we do is to pass the baton on to good brothers like you who are doing this work. There was a time when I was there where the elders passed on the baton to me, Professor John Henry Clark, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, Asa Hilliard, Shashi McIntyre, brothers and sisters in the generation prior to mine, and even those that are living amongst us right now. My older brother, I call him my older brother, Professor James Smalls. You know, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Wade Nobles, Dr. Vera Nobles, Dr. Oba Tashaka. These are the living legends right now that are elder to me, elder to us. But then the ancestors that have gone on, they handed down this legacy for us to help us understand who we were. And this came from the days of the plantation, Brother Jojo. When our ancestors on the plantation told their children, no matter what station in life you are, no matter how they treat you, know that you have a legacy, that you're very special. No matter how they talk to you, no matter how they treat you, know who you are and carry that legacy on. And I once was talking to Professor John Henry Clark, and I told him, I said, you know, Dr. Clark, I could never repay you for all that you've done for me. And he said, you're right, you ain't got that much money. But he said, what you can do is you can pay forward. You know, you can do for others what I've done for you. That's the only way you can repay me, is to do for others as I've done for you. And that's how I feel about all the great legacies that go on before us. Malcolm X, the only way I can honor Malcolm X is by continuing his work. The only way we can honor Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, you know, Fannie Lou Hamer, is to continue their work. And so I appreciate you, Brother Jojo, allowing me this opportunity, because in you allowing me this opportunity to talk to your audience, to talk to your brothers and sisters that are working with you, you give me the opportunity to thank Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben. This is my opportunity because I'm paying it forward. And it's important that we understand exactly who we are as a people, and particularly now in 2022, where we find ourselves. In 2009, July of 2009, I retired from the New York City Board of Education. After 31 years, 3 months, and 15 days. I taught college at a state university in the Black Studies Department from 2004 until 2016, 12 years altogether. I taught college 2 years before that. I've taught every grade. I've taught every subject. I taught high school for 10 years. And so the reason why I'm laying all of this out is to show evidence of what I'm talking about. This is not theory. This is my being in a classroom, teaching children 5 years old, 6 years old. And now that we're in this social media age, the young people that were once my students when they were 5 years old, some of them are even grandparents, young grandparents, but they're parents now.
Correct.
They didn't know me as Kaba Hiawatha Kamene. They knew me as Booker Taliaferro Coleman.
Okay.
And they contact me. They say, you know, I saw YouTube, or I saw Hidden Colors, or I saw something that you did, but I don't know you as Kaba Hiawatha. Are you the same Booker T that I knew when I was in kindergarten with you? And there are things that they tell me, Brother Jojo, that reaffirm what I know to be true. And that culture is the building block of everything that we become. Dr. Wade Nobles tells us that culture is to a human as water is to a fish. You live in it, you breathe in it, you eat in it, you exist in it. Culture. And Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop says when someone wishes to oppress you, there are three things they'll take from you. They'll take your history, your language, and your psychological factor. Your psychological factor are your values, your interests, and your principles, what Dr. Leonard Jeffries calls your VIPs, values, interests, and principles. And then they will superimpose their history, their language, their values, interests, and principles on you. And so, Brother Jojo, as I look around and I see the way in which we're reacting to the things around us, I'm not surprised. Because when someone takes your history, your language, your values, interests, and principles and superimposes their existence over you, whatever decision you come to in life is never going to be in your favor. It's
Correct.
never going to be in your interest because you're looking at the world through your oppressor's eyes.
Mhm.
And so a lot of the decisions we make, be it we put guns to each other's heads to kill each other, or we as men don't treat our women right, or our women who don't treat the men right, I'm not surprised. Because look at what we've come up under over the past 400 something years. And so this living legacy that I attempt to bring to our community, that you have allowed us to come together this evening to talk about, is the building blocks of who we are as a people. For some people, I'm only reaffirming what they already know.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, they say, wow, I didn't know that. But there are some of our people going to be shocked.
Yeah. And you know what? I see a lot of, I was playing, I'm changing my hat. I'm changing my hat,
There we
brother.
go. Hey, man, fly the
Hey,
colors, brother.
hey, you see, I started my lineage. I got the whole lineage
Yes.
on here. I got sheikhs. I got Ethiopia, the starting points. So
All right.
all my, and I wanted to get into, I call it the corrected culture. We now need to be the corrected culture because we lost, as you said, for 600 plus years. So now it was like, okay, I know we need to start with our school system. I know it's some ups and downs with the brother, Dr. Umar Johnson. Hopefully that he get that schools up and running. But we need those type of schools in every major city in America, and beyond. And we need some togetherness, which is another thing that I had on my list. So that way we can teach financial literacy. It's still so much big eyes and little U's. Everybody is wanting to be the man, as they say. Uh, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge Professor James Smalls. I just had the honor to meet him and do an interview with him as well. Thanks to Brother Sinetta TV. I always encourage our culture to subscribe to that YouTube channel with Sinetta TV, where we got the likes for Brother Polite, a brother that say, I come from gang banging and the streets of Brooklyn to the penitentiary, and he self-taught himself some incredible things with knowledge that one can do. And he even wanted to come to the point of creating his own language. And at this time as well, I want to send a condolences to the family. I'm not sure if you're aware of the brother on YouTube. It was LaShaw 5000, I believe. He was a young brother out of Ohio that spoke 66 languages.
Mm,
And he just
wow.
passed away. And I didn't know that. I actually was doing a live on YouTube. And a guy, I believe from Russia, had asked me, he said he watches me and subscribe to my YouTube channel so he can learn English. Because of course, for me, I guess I got a slow draw, so I speak clear enough for one to understand. And I was shocked by that. And he said he followed me because of that. And I call myself trying to tell him about the brother that speak the 66 languages. And I was aware of the Moor brother that taught the Russian language that I've learned from watching the Hidden Colors series. I usually know his name off the top of my head.
Pushkin,
Yeah,
Alexander Pushkin.
Alexander Pushkin, right. And I was saying how important those Hidden Color series are, and salute to the brother Tariq Nasheed as well, because on my journey of learning, YouTube, along with Dr. Smalls, Dr. Reggie, and Sinetta, for the most part, that I know I can directly contact if I'm having any issues with, because I like to be correct when I speak. When I'm speaking about something, so for me, okay, young brother, born here in Chicago, Illinois, from 6 months to 10 years old, Puerto Rico, from Puerto Rico to Miami, Miami to New York to LA, back to Chicago. Now, as my adulthood, sorry about that, as my adulthood, It's 195 countries, and I'm covering 170 countries. I have 25 to complete. I'm covering 6 of the 7 continents, and I've been to all 50 states. And as they say, I'm a project baby. I come from the ghettos of America, public housing. So what I've done for social media, a throwback Thursday day or something, I posted my project ID and made a slide of the continents that I've been to, meaning that was a stepping stone. I wanted more than this poverty. You know what I'm saying? We used to have this this picture on our wall, and it was the world map. So as a child, I used to lay back on the couch with my feet up on the wall, just looking at this map and saying, I want to go to all them places. Unbeknownst to me, years later, that I would actually start that process. So when I hear a lot of the guys speaking on Sinetta, when he's on 125th in Harlem and he's doing his work out there with the brothers, sometimes it be so much conflict, you know, with the belief systems, that we still not getting to the root of who we are, where we come from, what should we be calling ourselves. And that was like one of my main reasons and what I wanted to ask Professor Smalls. You know, I was like, should we be calling ourselves Black? You know, I see Brother Tyreek and a few others say we foundational Black Americans. You know, and then I see the brother Dane Calloway. He's super sharp. He say we natives, we the real Indians. So it's like I'm study seeking, you know. So I said, okay, let me do my ancestry.com. I mean, let me do my ancestry thing. So I done the ancestry test. I see that I was like 49% Nigeria and think 20-something% Mali. So of course I was frantic because I'm saying to myself, of what I know, you know, knowing of Mansa Musa, I actually have him tatted right here, the brother Mansa Musa. I have the brother Elijah Muhammad. I have the brother Farrakhan. I have the brother Che Guevara. Who else? The brother Gaddafi. You know, Elijah Muhammad. People that I felt like was martyrs to us, you know, or I learned from, you know, that I felt was right. Now, of course, in the Muslim community, tattoos is basically haram, it's forbidden, you know. But my thing with the brother Elijah Muhammad, like he taught when he even brought Islam to us, you know, here in America, it was really just giving us a start of some guidance of us being that the start of this corrected culture that we was needing. So of course we have some Sunni Muslims, you know, that in Africa, but they love to say the Middle East. You know, that's where I know you can correct all that. The geography part of it is like everybody want to take away from the motherland for some odd reason. But I understand now we in this separatism world, you know, of what we know of Europe bringing the separatism during their colonizing periods. So I want to go back to, I want to start here of what should we, because I've just heard that we carbon people, stop calling us, stop saying we melanated people. So from your knowledge, if you can correct all of that, what should we be calling ourselves?
My brother Jojo, I come from the first, I always ground my conversations with what my concept is as a teacher. And I say to our community, don't believe a word I say. My job is not to make you believe me. My job is simply to make you think. I think all good educators make the student think.
Mm-hmm.
or the person they're talking to, make them think, so that it's not that I don't have the evidence for what I'm saying that I say don't believe me. I'm saying it because I don't, too many times people want to persuade you.
Right.
They want to use the art of persuasion for you to believe them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's too important for us as a people, as we are right now, to take any one way as the way. And so in response to your question, I tell people all the time, you know, I was with, back in the 90s, there was a brother that brought me, name is Brother Akil. He brought me to Baltimore and brought me to the elder Moorish brothers and sisters that actually sat at the feet of Noble Drew Ali as children. And they asked me if I would come and teach the history to the embryonic Moorish Science Temple in Baltimore, Maryland. One of the key seeds of today's Moorish group came directly out of these elder brothers that carried the legacy of the Honorable Noble Drew Ali.
Mm-hmm.
And when I told them, okay, you know, I'll do something, you know, we can start with the Moors, they said, no, we don't want you to do Moorish history. We want you to do African history.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is the Moorish experience that will fit inside the African experience. It is the indigenous American experience that fits inside the African experience. And I know, because I know by the way people respond to me sometimes when I'm online and I talk about all life came out of Africa, period.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what the evidence shows us by millions of years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I do know that the first human beings that came to the American hemisphere were Africans.
Mm-hmm.
From 100,000 maybe to 120,000 years ago, the first humans that came to America came here. And chances are they didn't come by the east, they came from Africa. And chances are they probably populated South America, not the northern. Because see, when you get that Bering Strait concept, you get the idea that they came from the north and they traveled south. What I'm saying is they actually traveled from east to west and then flourished out amongst the entire continents and the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm. Not to cut
But
you off, which is like when you saying from Memphis, right? When you saying
yes,
coming south, and how the Red Sea is still connected.
yes.
Yeah, I toured that. That's why when you saying that, I'm just reflecting on that moment. So sorry about that. Apologize for that.
That's
Okay.
all right, brother, because I want this to be a conversation, not a lecture. Black folk are lectured out.
Right.
You know, we workshopped out. We need to have active conversations. I call them meetings at the African Square, where we can take this medium that we have, whether it be Zoom or Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, and that we are able to utilize it so that the community will rise together.
Right.
It's the only way it's going to happen. And so to go directly to your question, I'll tell you this. I don't care what you call yourself. You want to be black? Okay. You want to be Negro? You want to be a okay, I'm not going to say it, but you want to refer to yourself like that?
Mm-hmm.
Moorish? I know Moorish history. I know Moorish history as it relates to some of the elder brothers and sisters that actually taught me things and told me about the type of person that Noble Drew Ali was.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what he wanted for our community. I have known numbers of people who knew the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When here in New York, I used to see Brother Clarence 13X in Harlem,
Mm-hmm.
who would become Father Allah, who would start the nation of gods on earth.
Right.
This was I was young, I was a teenager. I never met him, but I saw him. And they say, you know, oh, yo, man, you know who that is? You know, I grew up around the gods on earth. And so for me,
did he have the 5 and 7 percenters, or was them two different people, or it was both?
well, all I know is the 5%ers. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
You know, now I'm not saying that there wasn't 7%ers, but I do know the 5%ers. And that's another name that they had for themselves.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And so the point that I'm trying to make, Brother Jojo, is I'm not going to get caught up arguing over what to call ourselves.
Right.
As long as you know when I say black, Moor, African, Negro, whatever, you know I'm talking to you.
Exactly.
If you can get to that, then we good. It doesn't make a difference what you call yourself. I'm not going to argue over that. We have too much that we have to do to stop at the point where we start arguing about the very thing that I just introduced myself to you, and from there we have an argument about what we are. How are we going to do what we got to do if we can't even get past the introduction?
And that was my whole point. That was my whole point. It's like, it's so many things out there that it's like, who can narrow it, you know, bring it in closer so we can start from there. And I understand your theory as well. It's like, it make us do the research, which I love that. So for me, it's like, okay, they tell me Ethiopia was the birthplace of civilization, which of course, then they're gonna say, oh, that was a Greek word. And, you know, so they keep, every time you thinking you hitting the point, they come, oh, the Ethiopia was, so then they say Abyssinia, and then that's and that. So I would go, when I was in Ethiopia, I actually have a brother that gave me the original. He gave me the original alphabets. I'm looking for a frame. I gotta frame it. He actually gave me the original words and letters of the language on the continent for their region. I would say that, if that makes, you know, and so I have to put that in a frame. And so to know that, then I went to Lalabella. And I was there during the time, it was some European guys from Italy. And I'm sitting here listening to them have this discussion, calling us, you know, what the word they like to use, and saying it was no way that us as a people was smart enough to build, you know, to carve out them pyramids in that mountain with no modern day tools. So they still, to this day, they visiting, but they over there going in doubt. You know what I'm saying? They only going into disbelief, and it's no way to. And you know, I was come to the terms that Negus, Negus, was king, meant king for the Ethiopians, and I guess it bumped down a few to where they put the ER on the end once it got back down this way. You know, and that's where that even came into play. So my conversations was to have with a master teacher, scholar like yourself, and my experiences on these regions, in these regions, and on these continents. So so when I was in Zimbabwe, I think I was 8 hours, and I'm still crushed by this today. I was literally 8 hours, they said, from the, I would say, reservation of the Khoisan people. Brother, you talking about steam coming out of my ears? I'm like, I've been over here all this time. I kept my little notes with me. I'm asking the brother that's taking me around. He see, and I'm gonna tell you this. You know, this another thing that trips me out when we get to the motherland. Do you know they really, I guess they so caught up in this American stuff that they see or whatever, that they really be in disbelief that we want to know that history? That baffled me. I couldn't believe, and it's happened multiple times, because it just happened to me again in Uganda. And he was like was he still under that? He know better, but what's white is right. He said he know better. He know the history. He know all that. But it's like they gonna give you them fake grins for them tips. He gonna give you them fake grins for them to still come over there and do their tourists, you know, for tourism. And I'm just like, man, we need to correct the part, the Sambo-ish, you know, doing that Sambo stuff. I was just seeing a brother, he was acting like he was super intelligent, but he kept calling Uncle Tom, which he clearly didn't know Uncle Tom's role. Now that I have you here, to our generation and the culture that's watching, could you please explain to them Uncle Tom don't play the role of a Sambo or the house Negro as people think? Because that's the misconception of that. So, and we so quick to call one another, "Are you Uncle Tom?" when it's a disagreement, but they don't know Uncle Tom was the original Harriet Tubman. He did the same, you know. You can probably go into more detail, I'm sure, but I'm saying, for my knowledge, I know that much.
What I'd like to do, brother, is I'd like to make a comparison to something Malcolm X taught us.
Okay.
When he talked about the field slave and the house slave. And the concept that we have is the Uncle Tom that we think of. See, because all this is fictional, although there was an original man that Uncle Tom was based on. But the concept is that Uncle Tom is the hero of the story. The concept that I'm talking about is the African who's in the house and who brings information to the brothers and sisters that are in the field. The Sambo is the African that's in the field and brings information to the massa in the big house.
Exactly.
Okay, and like Malcolm said, we got a lot of Sambos still running around right now.
Exactly.
And so the entire concept, which I think is important, although I'd want to pay homage to the original person that the story was based on, who started an underground railroad. There were Africans that remained enslaved on the plantations in order to become the conductors of the Underground Railroad. Because they knew that if they got on the Underground Railroad and went north, who would be able to man the station down south to get the other Africans up? There were Africans that sacrificed their own freedom for other Africans to be free, knowing what would happen, understanding what would happen. And this is the kind of legacy that we have as a people. We were an absolutely genius people on the plantations. Like I tell people, Brother Jojo, you can go back to Kemet and to Kush to find that classical African civilization. They were there. But I can take you to the plantations of the American hemisphere and show you classical African civilizations.
Right.
The hip hop culture is a classical African civilization. And for so many, and see, because I'm from the Bronx and because I was teaching in the Bronx, man, my first year teaching, 1979, there was a song on the radio called Rapper's Delight. Okay. Where I spent time as an assistant principal. Right down the block was on Sedgwick Avenue is where Cool Herc used to have house parties. So I grew up with the birth of hip hop coming up out of the Bronx, coming from the 60s.
Right.
And so I understand what that culture is. And I grew up with the young people. Of course, my time young was Motown. Temptations, Four Tops, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, the Jacksons, Michael Jackson. Okay, that was my generation music. But at the tail end of that, 1965 for me ushered in what we call rap music. But that rap music was only a continuation of the hip hop culture, which came out of what we call doo-wop.
Right.
Doo-wop is the music of the 40s and the 50s, post-World War II. Doo-wop. Doo-wop came out of bebop, which is the jazz and the ragtime, the rhythm and blues. The rhythm and blues came out of the blues on the plantation down south and in the north. The blues came out of spirituality, and spirituality can be traced back to Africa. Now, with rap music, Brother Jojo, I'm doing research presently. You talk about the Khoisan. The original human beings were the Khoisan and the Twa Mbuti. Same people, but some of them were living closer in Central Africa, the Khoisan was more in Southern Africa.
Right.
But they're the same people.
Mm-hmm.
They are derogatorily called pygmies.
Mm.
These are the original human beings. They learned how to speak, how to communicate from nature. And that first language is what we call the click language.
Yeah, the Khosas.
Exactly.
Which
That's
is
where it comes from.
which is where the Khosas was where Nelson Mandela, I think his father was Khosa. They talk with a click, like as they talk,
Yes.
click like that as they talk with a click.
And
So
that was the first language.
yeah, they still have that language over. If you in South Africa, Johannesburg, you're gonna witness that still to this day.
Yes.
And that's why I said I was so crushed, brother. The day that I was leaving, this man told me, he wrote it down. I still have it jotted down in my stash, that the Khoisan people, he wrote everything down, and he told me that I was only 8 hours away, where the original bloodline still to this day.
That's right.
And I could have passed out. I was so furious at him. I'm like, bro, you see, I'm asking you all this information because, you know, I'm overwhelmed. So I'm asking him all this information. And for him to tell me the day I was leaving, he was like, if we had time, because that's how it happened. On my way of checking out, he was like, oh, I could have had, if you wasn't leaving so soon, I could have took you to where the original people bloodline of the world is still in existence. And I'm looking, I'm like, what? And he said the Khoisans. And he said they actually 8 hours from here in like a reservation type, like we call it forest preserves, you know, here in Chicago, like the forest preserve. He was like, they 8 hours from here. I just would never forget that, man. I was furious about that. But
you know what differentiated them, Brother Jojo? The Khoi people were those Africans that lived around the desert, the Kalahari. Mm-hmm. The San people were the ones that lived in the bush. That's why the San are derogatorily called the Bushmen.
Right.
And the Khoi are derogatorily called the Hottentot. Mm. But they're the Khoisan. And many of them repeat their name twice, Khoi Khoi or San San. But the Khoisan are the same people, but one lived near the desert, the Kalahari, and the other lived more in the forest area. The same way when you go to Central Africa, there are the Twa Mbuti people, same people, but some of them live in the Ituri forest or the forests of Central Africa, and the others live in the more open savanna or grasslands. Mm-hmm. But they're all the same people. It's just the different names comes from the geographic location where they find themselves in. Right. But the last point I wanted to make about the click language is that I'm doing research on the beats in rap music.
Okay.
And I can connect the click language with the beats in rap music, not the words, the beats. Mm-hmm. And it's important that once you get those two pieces in place, you can see the connection that even our brothers and sisters on the street today, whether they know it or not, are involved in click language. They're speaking the original language of the original human family. Right. And no matter where, when you do this DNA search, let me tell you this, no matter where they tell you you came from, if they don't take you back to Central or South Africa, it's like them introducing you to your father and mother, but not introducing you to your grandfather and your grandmother. Right. And everybody, and every human, I don't care if you Native American, I don't care if you Japanese, I don't care if you Chinese, I don't care if you Slovenian or if you're French. Mm-hmm. Every human being, if you were to fast rewind your existence, your family would be somewhere in Central South Africa. End of conversation. Correct. So evidence.
West would come later on.
Say that again.
And
yes.
West Africa.
West and East, even Ethiopia.
Right.
Even Kush. And now the other thing about Ethiopia is that we get the word Ethiopia confused because of the nature that we now call a geographic location, like the colors of your crown that you have on, the colors of the Ethiopian flag.
Right.
In the ancient world, it was called Abyssinia, but Ethiopia is a word, Ethiop. It means burnt face.
Right.
When the Portuguese first got into southern Africa, they called them southern Ethiopians. When Homer got into India, he called them eastern Ethiopians. That's how you know everybody was black.
Yeah, because
that's how you know everybody.
If you go to India, they're more darker than us. They make us.
That's it.
Yeah, they make us look like we 50 generations. Like they darker than us.
That's right. That's right.
And another thing, because I had this, I had brung a few notes out, and this brother, they made sure they gave me this. I don't know if you knew, if was familiar with him. Bismillah, no, his name was Sheikh Al-Islam Al-Ibrahima Abdullah Nayas. And so this was another clearer picture of him.
Okay.
So I don't know. And this sheikh right here as well.
Okay.
So he was, I think, the elder of this one. But but one thing about it, I was so, intrigued about, what they was teaching me, that I needed my proofs, and just like how the brother Dane Calloway, I'm not sure if you checked him out before, but he won't let up. Like you just right now, how you just mentioned the Central and South, it's like they don't want to hear, he don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? He just want to be stuck with, we're Indians and that's it. We natives and that's it. And I was telling Brother Sinetta, I was like, y'all was beefing or going at each other, but that's hurting us as a culture, because now we seeing that both of you guys is doing the work, but Sinetta gonna give you everybody. He gonna have you on there, Dr. Smalls, Dr. Reggie. He gonna have everybody on the platform. To where Brother Calloway, Dane, he just goes strictly looking for the American history, of who was here first, and don't even open his mind up. And he would tell his followers or whatever, we not Africans. That's the part that I think he will listen to you.
Well, here's my thing, and here's where I come, and this is what is important to me. I don't care if life started in Africa. I need to see the evidence. The beauty of that, what we're doing right here, my brother Jojo, and to the family that's watching this, the beauty of what we're doing is we're coming before the community, and we are presenting information. We are not saying believe this. I'm just sharing my research that I've done over the years of the many scholars that I've studied about the origin of life in Africa. And by the way, family, if you'd like to get my study guide, it's on my website, www.kabakamene.com. Kabakamene. This is my evidence. I consider a very good friend of mine, a brother named Dr. David.
I'm gonna save that. What is it? www.
KABAKAMENE.com. Kabakamene, my name.
.com. Okay.
And I have a free study guide and an e-course, 6-day e-course, free. Most important document I've ever produced is my study guide, and it's free because I want the people to have it. And so what?
We appreciate that.
Oh yeah, but see, it has to be that way. I have other things that is monetary. Okay, I have other things that I've monetized, but I think that the most important thing that a person contributes to the community should have no price on it. It's priceless.
True.
Dr. Clark once told me, you may not reach your destination, but if you draw the proper roadmap, those that come behind you will pick up your roadmap and continue. My study guide is my roadmap. It's my life's mission to me and what I decide to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get my study guide, you'll see the evidence that I've laid out of all the different scholars. And the word evidence has become important to me because of the nature of what we call truth. Because Dr. David Imhotep, the brother that wrote The First Americans Were Africans, he said, truth can change. Like yesterday, here in New York, it was raining hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. And that was our reality yesterday. But today the sun shine bright.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. So truth can change, but evidence remains the same. And so I believe in evidence. It doesn't make a difference to me where the first humans were born. And what I say to anybody is, show me your evidence and I will adjust my thinking. I'm not looking for my truth. I'm not caught up in Africa could only be. The reason why I say Africa is the origin of life is because of evidence.
Scientifically, right. Exactly.
Okay, give me the evidence. Show me the archaeological bones that will take the human back more than 4 million years so far.
Question. So do we actually go with Lucy or no?
No, they found somebody older than Lucy.
Yeah, I did notice that too. Yeah.
Ardipithecus is now going back 1 million years.
It was
But check this out. Ardipithecus is older than Lucy. But the other thing to realize is that in the northern area, Ethiopia, Tanzania, they have found footprints in Laetoli. Laetoli. I got that in my study guide, Laetoli footprints. Where there was like eruption and lava was left behind. But people were walking and they left footprints over the thousands of years. They left footprints. But now what they've done is that they have measured those footprints. Let me take you back to Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop's 6 forms of human being. See, this is what I'm talking about, evidence.
Mm-hmm.
He says that the first human beings that would come out to begin the long process of the Homo sapiens sapiens, who they say we are today, would have been Australopithecus robustus. Australopithecus robustus then transformed into Australopithecus gracile. I'm only throwing this out just to show you the evidence. It's all in my study guide. It's all where it needs to be. The Australopithecus gracile was so phenomenal, they adjusted their life system and they became Homo habilis. They went from being Australopithecines, they started the Homo line, meaning human or sane. Homo habilis, human of ability. Human of ability became the erect human who stood up straight. The erect human became Homo sapien, meaning thinking human. And then Homo sapiens became Homo sapiens sapiens, who are creative thinkers.
Okay.
Now, when you look at these Laetoli footprints and the new measurements of them are now saying that Homo erectus, which was the 4th form of human, to Australopithecus robustus, Australopithecus gracile, Homo habilis, and then Homo erectus, they push Homo erectus back millions of years because by the way in which the footprint was measured, they were bipedal walkers. They did not walk the way the earlier humans walked. The imprint of their foot in the lava was different than the Homo erectus who stood upright. So if that's true, it means it's going to push the human family back millions of years in existence in Africa.
Right.
Evidence. You got to show me that in America. You got to show me. I have seen evidence that date Africans 80,000. There are bones in San Diego, Brother Jojo. Bones in San Diego, California, that of a black woman dating back 80 to 90,000 years ago.
Mm.
So what I'm saying to people who are saying that we were the first in America, you're right. For the people that say life started in Africa, you're right. We're arguing, but we're both right.
Right.
We're talking chronology.
And
Life started in Africa. It did not start in America
no,
because of biological climatology.
exactly.
Life came out of a tropical climate. And when you look at the 23 and a third tilt of the earth, and you look at the sun's rays coming down on the equator, you can see why life would first of all flourish in Africa, in Central and South Africa, because that's where the sunlight had direct light on.
Mm.
You could also understand why life would have moved from Africa to America and go right into Brazil, because that's where the oldest humans are found, in Brazil. And that is because the Africans that traveled from Southern Africa, the Khoisan, Twa, and Mbuti, went on what's called the Benguela Current that comes off the coast of Southern Africa, and it's a belt of water that goes right into the Amazon River.
Yeah.
Evidence. I'm looking for evidence. Show me your evidence. Don't tell me. I've got books and scholars that I've sat and learned from these scholars about biology, climatology, archaeology, anthropology. But with all that said, I'll still come back and tell you, if you can show me evidence of life starting in America, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know they're going to be black anyway. So I don't care. You know, it's like me with basketball. You know, like people say, what team are you rooting for? When I look at basketball, everybody on the court is black. So I don't care who wins.
They should ask me, man, why you don't be into the sports? Say, listen, man, long as our people win, good. And I look at it like this. I said, because like, I know they said that the most pure blood African, like you said, you can find in Brazil. Then in the world, the most pure blood African you can find in Brazil. So when everybody talk about this hair and these looks, and that has to be equated to climate change, but a lot of people don't speak on that. You know, the same way with they highlight Egypt for a lot of things, but the highlight of Egypt being like the pyramids, and one wouldn't say is more pyramids in Sudan than anywhere in the world.
There's pyramids in West Africa.
Yeah.
There are pyramids in China. Brother, when the Kush Kemet peoples were building the pyramids, there were West Africans creating civilizations in Nigeria.
You're right.
All of Africa was great. And this is what Dr. Clark used to always say. You know, we're caught up in Kush Kemet because of the exoticness.
Exactly.
And because of the records that were kept. And because that was where the Europeans or the Indo-Europeans first entered into Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a town, there is a city. There's a brother named Dr. Robin Walker from UK, United Kingdom, who talks about Eredo, E-R-E-D-O. Google it. Eredo in Nigeria. This city was up and running 1000 AD. It is 400 square miles. 400 square miles. A city. 400 square miles. And it has a scaffolding that runs around the entire city. They have complexes that are two-story homes. They have complexes that are libraries. They are affluent homes, and there are everyday people homes.
Mm-hmm.
The point I'm making is that if this city was up, think about when I talk about chronology, Brother Jojo, think about if it was up and running 1000 AD, 400 square miles in size. When did they start building this city?
You're right.
And you got to go back a whole bunch of years to think about, but then even if you went back to when they first started to build the city, who were the first thinkers to even think about building a city like that?
Exactly.
How far back does the city go for that? So when it's up and running 1000 AD, there's a very good chance that it was in production during the Pyramid Age of Kush Kemet. And you're dealing in Nigeria now. Now, you were down in South Africa. Now, if you go to Zambia, the same stone temple in Zimbabwe that's called the Great Zimbabwe, they have stone structures across all of Southern Africa.
Yeah.
We get caught up in Great Zimbabwe because of the Portuguese.
Right.
We get caught up because of the British and Rhodesia. But the reality is those stone temples dot the entire part of Southern Africa that now show relationships to the stone builders of Kush Kemet. There was a cultural unity. And we can't get caught up in just Kush Kemet. We got to look at West Africa. You have the Kuba and the Luango culture of Central Africa. You have Southern Africa. You have Northern Africa. All of Africa was great. And we are the inheritors of that legacy that they hope we forget.
And the Mali Empire had to bring a lot to this civilization and world as well.
Brother, in the ancient world, 5000 BC, if you go back 6000, 7000 BC, the Sahara Desert didn't exist. That was all grasslands. And what happened after the Ice Age ended was the geography, the geology, and the climatology changed in North Africa. And what began to happen is that it was the oncoming of what's called the African arid phase. Before that, it was called the African humid phase. That's when everything was green. That's when there was African nations in this area that is now the desert, Sahara. At this time, they grew things. There was a lot of trade going on. But with the coming of the arid phase, 5000 BC on, what begins to happen is that things start to dry up. Evidence. They found crocodiles under the Sahara Desert. They found fish bones under the Sahara Desert. Evidence. See, not just talking. Evidence.
The same
and
with
if you want more interest, say again.
But like the mounds and the underground cities that they say that was just in I was in Peru at the wonder of the world, Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu, that's right.
So and seeing that how right now today it's still civilizations of people living in between the mountain. And then I was in I did a helicopter tour over the Grand Canyon, and it's actually indigenous people still living up under there, and we didn't know that. So it's a lot going on right under our noses and in our eyes. And then to see the baby head, as we called it, and I think they found that baby head in Mexico, and they donated it back to Ethiopia. But I felt like they should have left it there. Like, why did y'all send it back? And we know now of the second president of Mexico being African descendant.
This is our history.
Yeah.
This is our purpose, Brother Jojo. This is what I've dedicated my life to, particularly for the children. My primary license is in early childhood. Kindergarten, because they didn't have pre-kindergarten when I first started teaching. They started that as time went on. They existed, but they weren't part of the public school system. first grade, second grade, third grade, because I wanted to get this information into the children before the nonsense was put into them. And I felt that if I could get to the young people when they were 4, 5, 6 years of age, that I could put within their consciousness how great they were.
Right.
And I've had students contact me now that were my students then, and told me there was this one sister, young sister from Ghana. I had her when she was in the first grade. I taught her when she was in the first grade. And she contacted me about 3 years ago on Facebook, on message. And she said that she had seen Hidden Colors and that she didn't know me as Kaba Hiawatha, but she could tell by the voice that it was me. And she said that the one thing, she was from Ghana. She was newly arrived from Ghana with her family. And we're going back like to 1982 at this time. She told me that she always wanted to thank me now that she has grown. She is an adult woman now. And she said she wanted to thank me because the way I spoke about Africa, she said that she could tell I loved Africa.
Exactly.
And African people. She said, just the way you were, the way you talked to me, the way you pronounced my name, the way you interacted with me, it was obvious that you not only loved Africa, but you were proud of Africa. And she said that experience for her, being newly arrived from Ghana, allowed her to everything else she did in her life. She placed that love and respect of Africa, where everybody else was talking about what Africa wasn't and all the rest. I had placed in her a love and respect for the country from whence she came from, Ghana in particular, but Africa as a continent. So that when I come before our community, I'm not telling you this works because I read about it. I'm telling you because people have gotten back to me and said, Brother Jojo, you made a difference in my life when you taught me about myself. When I taught them about melanin, there were children come back the next day say, this morning, I felt good about myself. I combed my hair. I brushed my teeth. These basic things, Brother Jojo.
That's true.
That when you look in that mirror, you say, I love you and mean it. To know that you come from a grand people, no matter what we see happening, nothing is wrong with us. Something happened to us.
Exactly. And we got to salute Nigeria for taking a stance and stopping that whitewashing that's going on and bleaching of the skin. And they just made a stand and say no other faces will be seen on billboards or any of that in Nigeria except for Nigerian people and people that, and it was like about time, you know what I'm saying? Because the bleaching is $1 billion industry, and it's
Not
like
Nola, brother.
Yeah, they made us feel so shamed of ourselves. Like I remember a time being in Minnesota, and I'm in a movie theater, and it was some young girls in there, and they young, wild, and ratchet, as we say, and they was talking crazy about the Somalians because it's a big Somalian and Eritrean culture in Minnesota. So they like, them stinking, they stinking Africans. I don't want to smell them and this and that. So I politely said, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been to Somalia? Have you ever been to Africa? And she's like, no, I don't want to go over there, this and that. I said, how you know you don't stink to them? And she got quiet, and her friends was like, oh. I said, the colognes and perfumes that we wearing is not their natural scent from where they from. So you might smell like a skunk to them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and brother, the other thing about that is the fact that the brother, there was a brother dropped it on me. He said, we are very clean. He said, but when you put that perfume and when you put that underarm deodorant on, that attracts mosquitoes.
And yeah, exactly.
And then you can get different diseases when the mosquito, like malaria, so that they're clean. But the reason why they don't use perfumes is because they understand that if they use perfumes, that will attract mosquitoes, which can attract diseases. And so the aroma, the scent that they have may not be a perfume scent. But when you think of a choice, if somebody said to you, okay, you put this perfume on, you're going to get malaria. Or if you wash every day, but don't put perfume on, you'll live through the, are you going to make a choice?
Right, right.
See,
Right.
but we don't go deep inside the conversation as it relates to the smell, because smell is very, it deals with what could be unattractive to one person could be very attractive to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Some folk love the smell of bacon. Some people are revolted by it.
Exactly.
It make them sick. Some people love the smell of brewing coffee. Other people, it makes them sick. So we got to be careful in assuming that the values, interests, and principles that have been superimposed on us, now we look at other people and we are judging them by an alien culture that isn't even ours, and we're living the illusion and they're living the reality.
Correct. Was it Dr. Clark that gave the minister Farrakhan all those books before he passed?
Dr. Ben.
Oh, Dr. Ben gave him books. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Dr. Clark's books are down in Atlanta.
Oh, they're in Atlanta. Okay. Yeah. So, and I would think like the likes of yourself, the likes of the minister, and a lot of the scholars that we have, and us pulling out, because I know you said a lot too, we need to pull our resources together. Like, we still gonna go through this same phase all over again if we don't do it like now. We don't have no more time to waste. So, you know,
Brother, you drop what you're wearing. Here, I have shirt from 3150.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's an African-American owned business. African-owned business. The jewelry I wear is ancient aura jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
The point I'm making is I am so proud of this shirt. An African-centered jewelry by African-centered people. I want us to rock with that down the street. The same way we wear other people's brand and we say, this is this, I'm not going to name no names, or this is that, we're so proud we got that on.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, it don't look that nice, but that's a whole nother story. But the other thing is that you're putting money into the pocket of other people, where our people got some serious stuff out here. The same way you were rocking your jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
The same way you're wearing your shirts and the hoodie that you had on before that.
Yeah, black heroes.
That's it. Everybody should be proud, not only buy it, but be proud to wear it.
And he got some good material. The young brother got some good. He's actually one of my daughter's friends. And
okay.
He got good material. See, like I tell them all the time, you know, because I prided myself in dressing fresh my whole life. That was my thing. I was into fashion and liked to rock the whatever latest fashions I like to rock them. But like I told him, long as the materials is right, you can get my money all day long. I'm gonna support you, you know. And I want to come back to the fear that I just seen a clip of a sister saying it's post-traumatic slavery something. She called
syndrome.
Yes, PTSD. She called it something else. Somebody
disorder. Post-traumatic slave disorder, joy degree.
Yeah. So, and I was saying like the fear that they opposed of us on stepping up to the plate. Because I get a lot of messages like, Joe, you kicking the knowledge and you want us to know about self and all that. You don't understand. You don't remember what happened to Dr. King. I said, that's of those that fear something. I'm living in a fearless world. As you can see, I'm living in Chicago. I don't have to live here, but I'm going to make sure I want to be where I was born. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that I reach out to, because there was some brothers in here. I've been trying to, so we want to salute Ghana. I think Ethiopia. We had a few people and countries in here saluting us too as we've been talking, but I didn't want to get off track with reading the comments. But salute to all y'all that's in here. But a brother was just in here, was like, man, is this the same JoJo Capone? I didn't know he was so conscious. You see what I'm saying? But that's that judging the book by its cover. You know, like I tell people, I'm being raised in a jungle. So I'm a be a lion in this jungle. So yeah, I'm not the person, and I tell them all the time. You had your Dr. King, you know, that took the likes of what was the brother name, the elder from India, like